Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good day. Welcome to the show today on Wednesday. Wednesday the 6th. Yesterday was election day. And, I was very concerned. The biggest thing I was concerned about is if the race had been like a tie. If it had been like a tie. That would have been the most serious danger if it was contested. The way the feelings are, the animosity across the United States. We've heard talk of civil war. Well, guess what? I think we've just averted a civil war. And it's all got to do with firepower. You know? The U.S. military is the most powerful military on earth. That's a lot of firepower. But there's also grassroots in the United States where in the United States itself, there's an awful lot of firepower in the grassroots. Practically behind every blade of grass. I mean, let's face it. If an enemy country were to try to invade America, they'd find out how much grassroots firepower there is. I mean, I seen a TikTok video, or might have been a shorts. It was in the shorts. It was one. Might not have been TikTok, but it was a video on there. It was only a short video, and it was out someplace in the Ozarks or someplace, and they had an old car, you know, and they used some of that firepower on the car, and it was unbelievable. I don't know what they were using, some sort of but in about 5 seconds, and it had tracers, a tracer type, and it was hitting that car. They hit that car with a burst of firepower. And I'm telling you, they shredded that car in about 5 seconds. I mean, completely shredded it. There wasn't anything left of it. They ultimately destroyed it, ripped it to shreds. That's the kind of firepower that's in places you wouldn't expect in the United States. Behind, like I say, behind every blade of grass. So it's enormous grassroots firepower in the United States, And let's face it, most of that grassroots firepower is in the places that are painted red. A contested election, the would have been dangerous, but now it's almost like a relief valve's just been opened up, and I think personally, my personal opinion is civil war in the United States is now not even a talking point after this election. But we got my audience probably got about 40% Democrats and probably about 55% Republicans watch my show and stuff, and the Republicans are rejoicing, and the Democrats right now are all sad and they're crying and boo-hooing and everything else. They think it's the end of the world. I think it's the end of democracy. I know what they're talking about when they say democracy, even though the United States is a republic. I know exactly what they're talking about, and they're worried, and they're concerned, and it's not really fair to sit back and rejoice in their that's kind of, it's distasteful to me to see people rejoicing in other people's misery. I just find that across the board for everything out there. If somebody is miserable, to sit there and giggle and laugh at them or make fun of them is in my mind, it's kind of like distasteful. I'll just put it that way. But on the other side of this coin, they're worried. They have concerns. They've been told that it's the end of democracy if Trump wins. As far as I see, this end of democracy that's something that any country can go through, the end of democracy. And countries that are under dictatorships in the world, like North Korea and places like that, there was a time when that happened. But it's something that is a very big of a long shot as far as I'm concerned for America, because we, as people complain and everything else, America and Canada here. But we have more freedom than most of the rest of the world. And we should protect those freedoms. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to not be isolated as a group of people and made down on because of your race or ethnicity or whatever. I can't pronounce it very good, but yeah, you know, it's a good thing and it needs to be protected. But as far as it's in jeopardy and it's going to go right out the window as soon as this new administration comes in, I think that's a long shot. I wouldn't put any real. I would say that there's a more likely possibility we'll have to deal with nuclear weapons in World War III is more likely than that. You know? And in fact, don't put the cart ahead of the horse. I'm speaking to Democrats out there. Don't put the cart ahead of the horse and say to yourself, oh my, this is the end of the world, the end of democracy and everything else. No. Not necessarily true. Democracy's what you make it. And it's only the end of democracy if people allow that to happen. And that's a long shot at this point. So the best thing that could happen is a smooth transition of power is a good thing because that promotes democracy. That's fundamental in maintaining democracy. You know? So this result, a clear winner. It didn't matter if Harris was a clear winner or Trump was a clear winner, but a clear winner is what we needed to move on and not have a civil war or something like that. Could shut down all of them. A civil war could be so disastrous because the enemy's at the gate and they would take advantage of that. And it could push us right into World War III almost instantaneously. You know the old saying, a house divided against itself will not stand. And the enemy realizes that. And they were probably hoping that, against all hopes, they're probably sitting back watching. That's why they've been quiet for the last few days. They've been hoping that we would go into some sort of a tied election and fight over it all. But that didn't happen. What we have is a clear winner here in all of this. And this means a smooth, more towards smooth sailing rather than, you know, and I can feel it. Can you guys feel it? There's more of a calmness setting to the whole world right now. The Russians are over there, you know. Anyway, guys, I'm hopeful. For the first time in a little while, I'm hopeful because I think America is going to start to reunite now at this point and not become so, because the last 4 years have just been pure hell. Not just for Americans, but all the way across the board. It affects everybody in the North American continent. It affects people in Mexico. It affects the people in Canada. It affects everybody when the United States isn't happy. When the United States is like in a state of turmoil, it affects everybody in North America. So it's kind of like breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief now that this is over. This was a big one. This was a big step, and now it's over, and we can start to move on with things. Inside, I didn't really want. I think this is good to unite the country. I really do. And if the United States gets united, Canada will get more united as well. And the same way with all the countries here in North America. And a united stand is the best way to assure mutual assured destruction. And that's what's kept us safe. MAD, mutual assured destruction, is what's kept us safe from nuclear war for the last before I was born. As long as that can be maintained, that structure, because the weapons exist, they are real. I know there's certain people out there don't believe that it's real. They can't believe it. They can't believe that they could actually blow the world up. Oh, it's real. Yeah, they can. They can blow the world up. They have that power out there. Russia, China, in fact, they're building more of these weapons, and I think it would be a wonderful thing and a wonderful day if we could get back to the point where they start to go through arms reductions again. Okay, thank you guys for listening. Trump won the election by a wide margin, an undisputable margin, 277 to 224. It wasn't even close. 66 million votes for Harris and 71 million for Trump. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next show. Bye-bye.